Testing, testing. Sorry, everybody. This I don't know what happened because the only thing I did was switch computers and plug the thing. This is what computer I use a lot when I had my other setup, and I didn't change anything, so I don't know what's going on. Tracy, do you hear me talking? I done changed this microphone setting like 955 times. It looks like it's work. It should. I mean, it's showing the little lights are going, but oh, it's okay. Finally, okay. You know what? Let's just start all over again. I want to do it all over again, but I'm not going to. I'm going to um, start with the question. Well, anyway, what I was saying at the beginning is we did the show Tuesday, right? Because I missed Sunday because I was out of town. So did the show Tuesday with 18 questions. We usually do 25. And so I said, okay, well, let's just do some more. And we're going to do some on Thursday. And plus, I'll be here on Sunday too. So you guys will be sick of me by the time the weekends. Okay, so it's so allergy. I'm just dying. All right. Let's start with these questions again. We got 18 questions, 20 questions today. We also have the Menti. So let me pull that up, and we're going to add that to the stage. There we go, once you guys can still see me. Now, here's the link. If you didn't get it from the show description page, here's the link for you to participate in the Menti for this week. And let me put it in there one more time just in case. You just click that and it'll take you right into it so you can vote you can type your comments on the questions because what I'm going to be asking you to do is share your thoughts on whether each relationship that you hear about or each situation that you hear about, whether there's some hope for the person or the relationship or not. If they might need some counseling or some other support, you're going to vote for that. Or if they, just forget it because it's a lost cause, ain't shit happening, just give it up and just go on with the rest of your life. So you're going to get to vote. Plus, we have some other questions and polls and stuff that you can also share your input on throughout the show. All right. There's a code if you want to just use your phone, you scan that code and it'll take you right into the same thing as the link here in case you're not on YouTube. You won't get the link. So you can just scan it from your screen right there, or you go to menti.com and enter those 8 numbers. There's the entry code, and that'll be on the top of each slide. So if you miss it for this one, don't worry about it. All right, here we go. Now you got to vote for question number 1 in a second. Let me finish reading it. This is a young guy in the 22 to 27 age group. He's African American from Greensboro, North Carolina. A summary of the issue. I've been working as a security guard and I'm 25 and I feel totally lost in life. Hey, Auntie, I feel like I am at a total loss. I don't know what to do with my life and I need your help. I'm 25, about to turn 26, and I have no passion, no skills, no talents, no hobbies, no nothing. I have totally nothing going for me. I'm working as a security guard making nearly minimum wage. I wasted the past 5 years goofing off and doing absolutely nothing with my life. I am not moving forward. I feel like a fool. I left college a few years ago with a 2.5 cumulative GPA, and I didn't complete my degree at all. I went into junior year and then I quit. I feel like a fool because I feel like I've ruined my chances to have a good future, and it sucks. I am afraid of not getting a good job after college because of my past academic performance. I'm just depressed daily, thinking that I ruined my life by my failures. I grew up with no father. He's been in prison my entire life, and my grandfather died when I was 5. I've never had good male role models around me. Wow, poor kid. Anyway, my mom and sisters are dependent on me to succeed, and I don't want to waste the opportunity to succeed in my life. I'm at a loss for words and I'm seriously aimless in life. I don't know what my purpose is anymore. I am totally scared that I might end up an old janitor or as a person who'll be stuck doing minimum wage jobs for the rest of their life. I want to be above that. Even though I'm trying to catch up with what I failed to learn in college, it's hard because I have some weird mental condition that I really can't explain. This is such a terrible situation to be in. I really don't know exactly what the hell I want to do with my life, even at this age. It's a shame, honestly. How can I find my purpose? Can you please give me some tips about how to get started? Oh, you poor little thing. Well, I'll do what I can. I mean, this is a heavy question for me to just pop off some answer. I hope somebody listening has some suggestion. Where did he say he was? Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay, I don't know what's in North Carolina. But here in California, they have something called America's Job Center and it's free. All the services are free. You just register. So I'm hoping they have something like that in North Carolina. Ask around. Like there may be something connected with the state, with the state government, but it's like a job, resource. People send jobs there. You can go there and use computers for free, free faxes, free photocopies, that kind of stuff to help you in your job search. They also have support would help you do your resume, interviewing skills, and all the stuff, at least here in California, is offered free of charge. So, what I want you to do is look into something like that. What I want you to do is try to find an aptitude test. That's what it's called. It's a whole bunch of questions that's going to seem random and like totally stupid, but I want you to think about every question on there and answer those questions. At the end of it, it's going to give you the results of what, even though you don't think you have any talents or interests, it's going to ferret out what you do have that you're not even really conscious of. And that will use that the employment counselors could use that as a guide to start you know putting you in a position to get any extra training you might need to prepare you for one of the careers that your aptitude test says is good for you. Okay, it's very accurate. So, like every time I did one, it said, you should be talk show host, radio, a writer, or in law. Okay, what did I do in my life? All of those things. Way before I ever took the aptitude test. So I feel like they're very accurate, and I think that will give you like a sense of purpose, give you a direction and a map. That's what you need to feel like you're not wandering aimlessly. You just need somebody to tell you this is the step one, step two, step three, step four. You gonna have to take the steps. They're not gonna do that for you, but you. I think that'll really help you. Now, I hope they have such a thing in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure they must. I don't know if anybody here lives in North Carolina or anybody listening to this after, you can maybe type it in the chat or whatever. But in the comment section. But young man, I really feel for you, but I do want you to chin up. Don't think that just because you didn't go to college that you can't make a good living. That is so not true. A lot of college graduates are pitching around, jobless or working in some field that they did not major in because they can't find any work. So that's not the ticket to success that it used to be. What we need to find you is what your skills are, what training you need, and get you into like a trade school or something. And you can come out making grand theft money after you get a few years experience and then be more proud of yourself. Okay, I want you to make a commitment though that you're going to be serious, that you're not going to fuck around no more. Okay, you already did that for 5 years. That's enough. If you have a gaming console, you're going to put that shit in a box and put it in the attic or sell it and get that money, because you don't have time for that. You don't have time for nothing except for educating yourself and coming up. That's all you're going to be doing for the next 2 or 3 years. You got me? Don't waste any more time. Your friends want to go hang around and drink and smoke and do all sorts of stuff. You say no. I'm on my grind, which I should have been on 5 years ago, but I'm doing it now because I definitely want to have some shit under my belt so I hit 30. Okay, that's your goal, and you keep in touch with me. Let me know how you're doing. All right, just send me an email. Let's move on. I hope that's the best I could come up with, but off the cuff. Question number two. This is a young man in the 22 to 27 age group. He's Caucasian. Okay, let me move on to question number two. No, nobody voted, huh? So nobody voted for little dude. I guess I don't know. I can't tell you what to vote. But anyway, this is the thing. You see the Menti on the screen. You have to be logged into Menti to vote. That's the URL right there. You click that, and then you can vote on these surveys and polls that are going across the screen. All right. If you don't log in, you can't do it. But nobody voted on him, so I'm going to move on to question number 2 and start reading that one. This is a young man, like I said, he's 22 to 27. He's white and European. He's from Tynemouth in the UK. Summary of issue. I don't really like my partner's tattoos. First, I would like to say I love my girlfriend. I'm very attracted to her and she to me. I would never leave her over this, and I've never told her I don't like him because that would just hurt her feelings. That being said, we met on an app, and in all of her photos, she had only a tiny tattoo on one arm. When we met for the first date, I could see she had a few more, which was okay. I mean, I'm not against tattoos, but they've never really been my cup of tea, just visually, especially certain parts of the body where they're right in your face. So it wasn't until we slept together that I saw some of her tattoos that are normally hidden, which, to be honest, one of them is a big turnoff to me visually. Oh, boy, I wonder what it is. If it wasn't a good match, I would have parted ways after that. But we ended up clicking right away in the first few dates, having that feeling like we'd known each other for much longer than we have. And I'm attracted to her physically in every other way, so the bedroom doesn't really suffer. I guess what I'm asking is, has anyone ever written to you about a similar situation? Do people get used to the tats over time? Should I tell her I'm not a huge tattoo fan in the future when she plans to get more? Obviously, just to communicate, not to control her body slash actions. I think you should, this conversation you need to start having sooner rather than later in case because what I found the people that like tattoos, they just keep getting them. They just can't seem to stop, like get addicted or something. And so you likely to come home and she's gonna have a new one. So you better speak up now. You don't wait till her to start talking about it in case she doesn't and she goes off and gets it and then gets a surprise. See, then you be sitting there looking stupid thinking, oh no. Now now I really can't stand it. So but I'm with you. I don't like it. I don't understand why everybody got the need to be all drawn on. Because when I was about 12 or 13 or something, I read that Edgar Allan Poe story called the Illustrated Man. That shit creeped me the fuck out. And I just anybody I don't have nothing on me, no tattoos, and I just could not get with it. So, I meet these dudes and they have, they want to have like all these like sleeves, they got a whole arm done or two arms, and then all up to their neck and all this. I know. I can't even look at you, let alone talk to you, let alone be with you like that on an intimate. No, it's not gonna happen because I just started thinking about that story. And if you've never read it, check it out. It's so fucking creepy. And so, the tattoos would move and rearrange themselves and tell stories and stuff. No, I'm good. I'm good. And yes, I know it's a story, but it impressed me. When you stuff like I think maybe I have PTSD. I don't know what it is, but I can't stand looking at a whole bunch of tattoos. It creeps me out. So I totally get where you're coming from. Okay, anybody voted? Nobody voted. Okay, I'm gonna move on to question number 3 then. Oh, we have a survey. We have a survey. Anybody want to vote on a survey? Here's the link. This one is asking about boundaries and preferences. So you got to pick one. What if you feel confident about your preferences, you pick, always or sometimes or whatever. You pick which one that applies to you. I'll give you guys like a minute to do it. Okay. Let me see. Where's the little timer thing? There we go. You got 1 minute to vote in the poll. And let us know where you are on the scale here on boundaries and preferences. Oh, good. People are responding. Thank you. It's like I know they're not gonna sit here then after I did all this work and not say nothing. This is very interesting. I'm asking these questions for the webinar I'm going to do in November. So I'm going to be referring to these responses. Anybody else? Still got 17, 16, 15 seconds. If you haven't voted yet, hurry up. Thank you for being honest too. Okay, that's it for that one. Thank you for voting. Let's move on to question number 3. This is a young lady in the 22 to 27 age group. She's Caucasian from Bristol, England. Summary of issue. I'm looking for opinions from you and the other viewers as to an incident that occurred over the weekend and the aftermath, and to question if I handled it correctly. Okay, so you guys get ready to type in the chat what you think about what she's talking about. Last Saturday night, myself and my husband were on a night out with our mutual friends, a guy and a girl. They aren't a couple, although the guy likes her. Halfway through the night, I witnessed our friends dancing, and the guy go to grab her throat. What? She pushed him away and looked to have handled the situation. I went to the ladies, and when I returned, my friend was speaking to another girl who had come to check on her as she had witnessed what happened. I said I saw it happen too, which she said happened a few more times when I was in the ladies' room. She had to stop and had to even mention it. It triggered her, as she had a nasty past incident with an ex, and he still did it anyway. Wow. I asked how she was, to which she laughed it off and said they spoke and squashed it. She laughed it off. Okay. It could have been left there, but I thought it was a serious issue since it happened multiple times, even when he was told to stop, and that it triggered her. We are all due to go to a festival shortly, and I had my concerns. My husband said I should drop it as they had spoken and sorted it out, but I wanted to address it and defend my friend, and didn't want to do it on the night where drinks are had and emotions are heightened. My husband called the guy this evening, and I spoke to him and calmly explained that I was shocked this happened and that he did that to her. He said they had spoken and he apologized, but it's not like he squeezed her throat. I said you shouldn't be doing it regardless. And why did you keep doing it when she said stop? To which he responded, I thought she was joking and didn't mean it. What a fucker. I said it shouldn't have happened. I was shocked to witness it as it's triggered me to a past incident, and I wanted to ensure that it did not happen again. I said, we are due to go to a festival together. Maybe you should watch the drinking. To which he responded that he wouldn't monitor the drinking as it won't happen again, and he doesn't want to stop being himself. We left it there. I left the room, and my husband spoke to him and finished the call. My husband came into the room and said that our friend is selling his ticket as he doesn't feel comfortable and feels judged. Motherfucker should feel judged. Who does that? Who does stuff like that? I'm telling you, if he had done stuff like that to me, I would have kneed him in the groin. My husband is annoyed and angry and wants to sell his ticket too, as he feels he doesn't want to go now that his friend isn't going. Both of you motherfuckers sell it then. He feels that I should have stayed out of it as it wasn't my business, as the two of them had squashed it. I saw it as defending my friend and trying to ensure that this behavior was not repeated. Should I have left it alone? Vote. Should she? I wish I had known this was quite. I could have put a bit different survey for this. But anyway, what is your opinion? You can put it in the chat. Do you think that she did right to confront the guy, or should she have followed her husband's advice and just dropped it because they quote squashed it? Why would a grown man think a woman who didn't want a man's hands around her throat and said stop multiple times was just joking? He is a fucker. Your husband, this is what lady you wrote in. I'm telling you, your husband is sus as hell, because not only should you have checked him, he should have checked his friend and like pulled him off the girl and told him, man, don't you be doing no crazy shit like that. That's my wife's best friend. What are you doing? Keep your hands to yourself. I mean, it should have come from your husband because that's his boy. But he instead he's jumping on you because you checked him. Well, they had squashed it's not your business. The fuck it's not. You watch me bring one of my friends around and one of my dude's friends do some shit like that to her. Most knowing me, I would call the police and have his ass carted up out of there for assault, because I don't play like that. When it's my friends, Leos are very protective of our people. We don't play that. So I see my girl in a trauma situation like that, and you can tell that's what it is because she's crying. I mean, she's trying to laugh it off, but in reality, you can know she's holding back tears and she was scared, but she's trying to just put on a front, like oh, we talked about it and it's no big deal. I know that face. I know that way of handling things. and that's a trauma response where they laugh and it's inappropriate. The laughing is very inappropriate. They're afraid to get angry and they don't know what to say or do, so they laugh to try to cover it up. Now that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, see, people agree with me. It's like, I would have beat his ass. And I really, like I said, if my boyfriend or husband had a friend like that and he didn't check him and he came after me, he came for me after I checked him, the relationship would be over. And I know the people be like, well, that's not something that you would break up. The hell it is, because to me, more so than what a man makes and what he looks like and all the stuff, is his goddamn character. And this guy, your husband, lady, his character when it comes to women being assaulted and abused, and just because it's his friend, he's tolerant of it, accepting, and even making excuses for it. He's defending this guy. Well, he feels judged. He's supposed to be judged, acting like that. Yeah, we would be done. It would be a wrap. I mean, I would be the ex Mrs. Whatever, and I'd be through with him. And I know people would not understand, but see, from my position, with everything I've seen and my travels and my life that I've lived, my life experience, if you put it that way, this kind of shit speaks to the character of a man. And a man who is okay with a woman being abused is an asshole. And I do not associate with assholes. So he would have to go. You go on over there with your choking friend then. Let him choke you. Woo! Well, thank you for voting, everybody. Let's move on to question number 4. And feel free. Let me put the link up here for people that just wandered in here. That's the link to vote in the Menti. Question 4, she's a female, 22 to 27. She's African American from Stockton, California. Summary of issue: I think I'm slow and lack common sense. Well, damn. As background, I'm a college student with a decent GPA. Over halfway through, and I've had all A's and 3 B's. I'm referring to this because it takes me an unholy amount of time to absorb materials, but I end up doing well in them eventually. When I try to study or do things swiftly, there's complete chaos in my brain. Now, that's for my academics. However, when it comes to doing more practical stuff, I'm often described as slow and sometimes lacking common sense. Everyone close to me but my dad has called me this. My sister and mom have echoed this so much to me that it has ruined my self-esteem. When I mow the lawn, it takes me about 2 hours on average. Doing lab group work, my brain gets foggy. When I wash dishes, it takes me twice as long as anyone else. At my jobs, I'm observably slow, and I know it. I improve, but I'm still slow compared to others. When you explain a task to me, it takes me like multiple attempts to fully understand to be able to redo it. I started a job a month ago and my bosses complained that I'm slow. I could get terminated soon. I'm generally not creative as an engineering major. That was the only thing I could think would be good at is academia. I love it. Here's what I think. The self-esteem creates a ripple effect that has affected other areas of my life, and I think I have ADHD. The thing is, I want to get better performance-wise and be a well-rounded individual. I need your advice. What jobs or major do you think can suit someone with my kind of personality? Thank you. Oh no, this we're not even gonna start there. What you're gonna start is by going to a doctor to get a diagnosis. You need to get a blood workup and you need a nutritional analysis because I'm thinking that you're very low in magnesium and vitamin D, possibly vitamin D too. Because all of those things create the B12 creates brain fog and magnesium. I mean, let's start there. Okay. Get you some blood work done, get a nutritional analysis to see where you're low nutritionally, and then you're gonna start with some nutritional supplements. Then I think you'll see a difference in how your brain functions and how you function. As far as the self-esteem thing, you can't really do anything about that until you get away from these people and start making some successes for yourself. But you're obviously really good at studying, so you should have some self-esteem around that at least. And don't let them just don't let them pound on you like that. think about, well, at least I got this. I get all A's except for 3 B's. What do you get in school? You see what I'm going with this? They want to put you down. You ask them, what kind of grades did you get? Yeah, I may be slow, but I'm determined to succeed. And it may take me a little longer, but I'm still going to get there. What have you done? And just throw it back at them. Don't just let people talk to you about you like that. And I've often said this, the most intelligent people often don't do well in school because they don't they don't have that kind of perseverance. They take it very casually and just, very superficial, like, whatever. They don't study. They do their homework. They can roll in, take the test, get an A, and then they're out. So, but they get other marks down for not participating in group projects and other stuff like that. But it doesn't mean they don't know the material, and it doesn't mean that they don't, they're not intelligent people. They just don't apply themselves the way people who have to try harder tend to do. I've noticed that while I was in school. I've noticed that a lot. What's up, Kiki? Are you all signed up to vote in the Mentee? Everybody voting in the Mentee? Okay, well, we're going to move on then to question number 5. This is another survey. So let me give you guys another minute. Look at that, and you're going to pick one. Okay, you're going to pick one, and you're going to have 60 seconds. So I'm giving you, because I know there's a lag, so I'm waiting a few seconds so you get the full 60 seconds. And you pick one of those. It says the question is, it seemed like a hopeful situation until you went on the date. Why was there no second date? So you pick one of those responses, and here we go. Oh, 1 minute. There we go. Why was there no second date? For me, it would have been choice number 2. They always fuck up. 30 seconds left. If you haven't voted, come on and vote. In the Mentee. 13 seconds left. Okay, voting is closed. So first thing is grooming was not on point. Yuck. Second was no conversation. I had to do all the work. Third is they did or said something inappropriate or sexual. And fourth choice was cheap or broke. And nobody picked no sparkle romance, a friend vibe, or other reason. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, let's move on to question number 5. This is a young lady in the 22 to 27 age group from Lakewood, Florida. Sorry of issue. My boyfriend can't seem to stop talking about his ex, and I want to do about it. Wait, well, maybe she means I want to do something about it. I've been dating my boyfriend for more than a year now. We are both 25 and met at a friend's party. I didn't have a lot of mutuals with him to know more about him, so I was unsure about dating him. But after I met him on a couple of dates, he seemed like a decent enough dude, and I decided to give him a chance, and now we are in a relationship. All things were going good relationship-wise, no serious fights. I can't remember exactly when or how it started, but for about a month now, he keeps mentioning his ex in random conversations. How thin and beautiful she was, how religious she was, how good she was at singing, cooking, etc. Oh boy. Okay, you guys vote. This is question number 5. Vote in the Mentee. Deb, it comes out of nowhere conversation, and I don't know how to react to it. I sometimes get angry about it, but it mostly makes me feel insecure about myself, as like I'm not good enough for him, maybe, and that's why he keeps thinking about her. She is a married woman now, and I'm not concerned about him approaching her because I'm hoping if she's married that she would refrain from entertaining her ex. I don't know if this is breakup worthy yet because I haven't called him out on it or had any conversation about it really. Any suggestion on how I should go about this? Do I talk to him and ask him what's making him act like this, or just leave? No, you said everything's in relationship wise is going good, so yeah, you're gonna talk about it, even if you ultimately decide to leave him anyway. Now, see, this is my thing. When a motherfucker starts talking about some bitch, that means he's thinking about some bitch, right? Because we don't talk about stuff that we're not thinking about. So the question is, why is he suddenly thinking about her? So you come up with a couple of answers. One, he is trying to, there's something going on with him. He wants to put you down or make you try harder to win him over. There's some, unsavory reason. Let me put it that way. Some reason that's not like game and is negative. The other thing could be is he heard, I mean, you didn't say when she got married. Maybe he just heard about it. And so, he's going through his finality, grieving, close the door kind of things, and he's doing it out loud. It could be that as well. Because you said she's married now, but you never said when she got married. You left that part out. But you've been dealing with him for more than a year, and it seems like a pretty decent relationship until you said this started happening. So if it were me, this is what I would do. I would sit him down and say, I noticed that the last month or two you keep talking about your ex. Why are you doing that? And then you don't say anything. Don't you give him no, is it this, is it that? Don't you fill in no blanks for him. You just sit there and look at him and wait until he gives you an answer. Most likely he's going to be caught off guard. He's going to say, I don't know. That's what they always say. I don't know why I'm doing that. Then you say, well, you better fucking figure it out because I'm gonna tell you right now, you do that shit one more time, we're through. I know that if for you to be talking about some other woman, that means you're thinking about her. Do you think I'm stupid? One thing I refuse to do is be in a relationship where I'm being disrespected. So this is your warning. I want you to know that I noticed it, and I want you to know that I don't like it, and I want you to know that I expect you to stop doing it. Now, if any of those things are a problem for you, just let me know. Now we can end this shit on the spot. You don't need to wait until you slip up and do it again. We can do it right now. Now you asked me how I would handle it. That's how I would handle it. I don't be playing with these dudes. I'm not giving them no chances. I'm gonna lay it out there, and you gonna like it. You gonna either do it my way, or you can get the fuck on. There's only two choices here. One thing we not gonna do, like I had my T-shirt on the other day. What we not finna do is deal with your bullshit. That's not gonna happen. So you don't sit there talking about some bitch to me all the time, like I'm supposed to sit there and listen to it. And see, you have a different attitude than me. I never take those kind of things as a condemnation of myself because I'm too wonderful for all of that. I know it. So I mean, I just would think that he's being stupid and he's having some kind of emotional response to something that he heard about her. So I'm really thinking it has to be, about this sort of getting married thing. But like I said, I can't say it for sure because you did not say when she got married. But I'm suspicious that has something to do with that. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on to question number 6. This is a young lady, 22 to 27, from Tacoma, Washington. The male's 35 to 41. Sort of issue. My colleague slash friend invited me to her tiny wedding without my boyfriend, and it triggered a major issue in my relationship. I am 26 and I've been together with my boyfriend who is 30 for a little over a year. I love him so much and I see a future with him. A colleague and a friend of mine is getting married this weekend. It's a very small civil ceremony, just family, her parents and her siblings, and one friend each. There will be about 20 people in total. She invited me as her one friend. I was genuinely touched and happy to be included. However, she didn't include my boyfriend in the invitation I got about 6 months ago. We had been together for just half a year by at that point. I didn't say anything to her because I knew it was a very limited guest list and I felt it wasn't my place to ask for a plus one. I assumed it was a practical decision and didn't want to complicate things. Well, them little civil things, there's not a whole bunch of room to be packing a whole bunch of folks up in there. Later, her brother and his girlfriend, who have been together about 7 months, asked me why my boyfriend wasn't coming. I told them honestly that I understood the limitations and that while I wouldn't have excluded him if I were the bride, I didn't feel comfortable confronting her about it or causing her stress before the wedding. But this conversation stuck with me. It came up in a conversation I had with my boyfriend. He felt really hurt. We ended up having some sort of argument and lots of emotions came out. He told me he often feels like he comes last, like I always have time and energy for other people, but not for him. He mentioned how I never invited him to meet certain friends, how I see him only when I have time left over. He said if he were in my position, he would have told the bride he's bringing his girlfriend and wouldn't go if she wasn't welcome. He said it's not even about the specific wedding anymore, it's the principle. And I completely agree. Well, you let yourself get talked into some bullshit. I'll explain this to you in the end here. I opened up to him that I struggled with this for a while when I first got the invite, but I didn't bring it up to her because it's not my place to do so. My boyfriend has also felt from the start that my colleague doesn't really accept him. Oh, here we go. Here's the real issue right here. During their first meeting, we've been together about 4 months at that point, she made a weird comment like, well, I don't know if we'll see you again, which really rubbed him the wrong way, even though I didn't hear it myself. Honestly, I feel terrible. I can see his point. I didn't stand up for him. I was trying to be polite and avoid conflict, but maybe that came at the cost of making him feel invisible and unimportant. Psh, bullshit. The truth is, I'm socially awkward and not used to standing my ground in these situations. Deep down, maybe I was relieved not to have to push for him, and the realization of that made me feel ashamed. I don't want him to feel unloved or excluded. I want to be a good partner. But now I feel stuck. The wedding is this weekend. I'm definitely not bringing this up and putting pressure on my colleague or make it look like I'm demanding something at the last minute. And I'm definitely going to the wedding either way. But I also don't want to hurt my boyfriend even more by ignoring how he feels. To add another layer, we're in the middle of trying to live together. I've never lived with a partner before, and I realize I'm still learning how to act like part of a team instead of just thinking like I'm on my own. But I love this man deeply. This argument is not about the wedding. It was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I realized that I don't know how to be in a partnership, and since I was in a controlling, toxic relationship in the past, I still haven't figured out the right balance of independence and joint decision making. I'm afraid that I will lose my autonomy and have to get his approval to do things like I did in my last relationship. So I just plan things and inform him about it later. And I realize that I've never asked what he wants to do and don't plan things for us. Just to be clear, I'm writing to you because of how that situation made me realize a deeper issue in my relationship where my partner doesn't feel like a priority and I've acted more independently than I should have. I'm seeking advice on how to repair the emotional damage and be a better partner moving forward, not whether my friend was right or wrong. Okay, good. Because first of all, your friend can't be wrong because it's her wedding. Okay, so she get to call the shots. She getting married at a civil ceremony. Have you ever seen those little rooms and all the people that are coming in there? You can't be bringing the whole gang of folks up in there. They won't fit. Okay, and you gotta have space for the other people too, for them to come with their spouses and their important family members and stuff like that. You can't do that. Okay, now if she was having like a regular wedding somewhere else, I mean, you might have an argument. But even then, if she didn't want to pay, $70 for his meal service, that's their red wagon, and you still don't have nothing to say about it. So either way, really, when it's somebody's wedding, you really don't have shit to say. Either you go or you don't when you get an invitation. Now let's go back to what you was talking about him about. He says, uh, that you don't make him a priority and he should have been able to go. No, he should not have. First of all, let me go back to this thing right here. You're not married. Okay, so you don't need to worry about, doing things, making joint decisions and all this kind of shit here. That's not your husband. He's a mere fucking boyfriend. And you only been with him for a year. It's not like y'all been together for a decade, have a bunch of kids and shit. So what are you talking about? You should have shut that down as soon as he said that. Try to run that game where he could be trying to run you and stuff, tell you what to do and be all involved in your decision making. Fuck that motherfucker. And the second thing is, you got all these things where you want to be a good partner and all this other stuff here. Um, I'm going to say this, don't move in with him. If these are some issues and you have some PTSD trauma from being in an abusive relationship, get your ass to a shrink and work that out. Because whether it's him or anyone else, you having this kind of fear and, to the point where you're being walled off from your partners is not going to do you well. I'm not saying you got to consult him about everything you do, especially when it involves your friend. It's not his business. That's your friend, your colleague. It has nothing to do with him. He doesn't need to be there. It's not about him, and that's what you're supposed to tell him. She only knows me. She met you one time. Why would she have you at her wedding? You're not important enough to her to have you at her wedding. I am, and so I'm going, and you're not. And that's just the way it is. Now you have a friend, he gets married, and you want to go, go. Feel free. I'm not gonna try to interject myself because I don't know your friends like that. So that's what you should have told him. Um, I don't know how to be in a partnership. These people, you just let him gaslight you and try to make you feel bad about going to this wedding. He's like, it's not, you don't include him and stuff. He's not supposed to be included. He's a fucking boyfriend. Stay in your envelope, chump. Yeah, he just like a fucking drama queen. I mean, I don't do well with dudes like these emotional. They try to control you with their feelings and their emotions and stuff. Like women, they cry. The women cry. But it's the same thing, but it's a dude doing it. He's not crying, but he's trying to evoke that same emotional response, like how you feel when you watch somebody cry. The guilt and the concern. He's trying to evoke those same emotions in her, as if he burst into tears. So I know this game. This girl, don't fall for it. Go to the wedding, ignore his ass like he ain't said shit. And when you get back, he's gonna be having his lip stuck out and stuff. And then that's when you're gonna sit down and tell him what I just told you. It's like, this ain't about you. I mean, why would you need to be there? She doesn't even like you. You don't like her. So why would you feel like you even need to go to her wedding? Right? Because it's what he said. We don't even know if we're going to see you again. And he called an attitude about it. So he don't like that girl. He don't need to be going to her wedding. He just wanted to go there with his sour attitude and fuck it up. Nothing like trying to look at him. Girl, you better, I mean, I know this is your man and you all mesmerized and shit, but you better wake up and start looking at him the way that he is instead of with them rose-colored glasses. This whole thing was totally inappropriate for him to do. This is some bullshit. All right. This is another, just in case you just got here and you want to participate. You see, we got some Menti slides going on. We're going to be doing some more polls and surveys and stuff you can participate in a minute. So that's the information. You scan that QR code with your phone right quick, or you log on to menti.com and enter that code. Or if you're on YouTube, you can just click this link that I just typed in the chat. Yes, Lotus Bloom. What is that? Whatever your name is. Yeah, she's going along with what he said because she's young and she don't know the game. See, whereas me, if dude said that to me, I would have gave him the Deb side eye right quick, and then unleashed on his ass. Like motherfucker, for real? You think somebody gonna fall for this shit? I wasn't born yesterday, and not this morning either. And so this is we not you not going, and I don't want to hear shit about it. We're not joined at the hips, Siamese twins, where you got to go everywhere with me. He just thinking that she gonna have somebody else there. Since you don't like him, she gonna introduce him to somebody else. That's what he's thinking. That's what he's really thinking. And if I was a friend, I sure would do that too, just because I just want to be a bitch. Anyway, let's move on. We're gonna move on to the next slide. Question number 7. We have 20 questions today. This is a male in the 22 to 27 age group. He's African American from Plano, Texas. So we have an issue. How do I tell my girlfriend that I don't want to raise our son the same way she's raising her current child? I am okay. So you got a baby mama with 2 babies. That's what you're telling me. All right. I am 23 and found out a few months ago that my girlfriend, who is 24, was pregnant. The pregnancy wasn't planned. Our relationship wasn't even that serious to begin with. But after a lot of talking, we decided to keep it. Why? Oh, because you in Texas. That's probably why. She's now 6 months along. Since then, I've started spending more time with her and her 6-year-old son. But Miss Deb, the more time I spend around them, oh, that's that Texas thing, Miss Song. The more uncomfortable I get about the idea of her parenting techniques being used on our child. The way she and her family treat her son really bothers me. She hits him as discipline and allows her parents to hit him as well. She's mentioned before that physical discipline is just normal in her family, that she was hit as a child and so were her parents. I can't come to terms with that. That's not how I was raised. It's not how I want to raise my children. Something else that really bothers me is the way she and her family speak to her son. They constantly say stuff like, man up, stop being so sensitive, that's gay, etc. Wow. Just recently, he asked if he could paint his nails after watching her paint hers, and she shut him down by saying, no, that's gay. I went to a family barbecue of hers, and my girlfriend's dad told her son to go play with the boys. And her son said no, he wanted to play with the girls. Her dad told him to stop being an F slur and go play with the boys. I don't believe in hitting kids. I don't believe in shaming a child for expressing himself and just being a kid. I just don't think we're on the same page about parenting at all. I'm scared for my son to grow up being treated like that. How do I approach this conversation? You're going to tell her, you're going to start making arrangements now, and you're going to tell her that when the baby is born, you want custody of the child. You want like 100% custody, sole custody, sole legal custody, sole physical custody, and you don't want to be the kid to be around her or her current kid. Might not work, but you can try it. And as justification, if you need to get an attorney, you can point to the way that she treats her son, and that's emotional and physical abuse. Say, I don't want my child in an abusive environment. Now that we got that out of the way, let me get back on your ass. Why the fuck did you go and sit in the situation where some woman you was barely knowing, you did whatever you did for you to get her pregnant? Why did you do that? And see, you didn't know her well enough. Do you see in all this shit now? This is not somebody that you have a kid with. She's stupid. Her family is stupid. Their minds are fucked up. And this is who you chose to to have the heir for your family line? Really? That's what you did. And you thought that was a good idea. You're stupid. So really, I mean, neither one of you really need to have a kid because neither one of you thinking right. But I think, just from what you wrote in the letter, you the best choice of the two. But like I said, I still have a problem with you because you dumb, you make stupid decisions. But this is going to be a problem. So you're gonna about to spend a whole bunch of money on legal fees to get your kid away from this dumb bitch. A kid that you didn't have to have. And heaven forbid if you lose and she gets weekend visitations or whatever, and then the kids getting yelled at and hit and all this kind of stuff, and there will be shit you could do about it except drag her back into court. But the kid would already have been hit and verbally and emotionally assaulted. You can't undo those kind of things. So all in all, I know that's not what you want to hear, but you need a fucking reality check. Keep zip up your dick so you don't make this mistake again. Okay. One thing we do not need is for you to be having like random kids all over the damn place. It's just ridiculous. It's totally irresponsible. Now you got a kid by a fool. And who knows what kind of DNA she carrying. So your kid is gonna have her genes in it. Dude, really? I mean, what were you thinking? These young dudes, young cats just don't be thinking. It's like when you at that age where they got money and a job and stuff like that, you have stuff to lose. You don't be dipping your dick up in any old broad. You don't do that. Because every time you lay down with some bitch, you need to be thinking this could be the mother of my child. And if you look at her and her lifestyle, how she handles herself, her education, her diction, her family lineage, how her hobbies and habits and character, and you say, "Oh no, this I'm really not feeling it," but the coochie is good. You putting yourself in a noose. You're stupid. Everything about a woman that you lay up with should be someone. If she got pregnant, you'd be okay with it. If there's any doubts in your mind, keep your dick in your pants. That's what you need to do. And more fathers used to tell their sons that, so they didn't have all these random kids by stupid women. But nowadays, the fathers are absent. They're not telling their sons nothing. So I'm going to tell you. Okay, if you meet a woman and you can't imagine that heifer being the mother of your kids and carrying your family line and being the next generation of heirs of your family, you don't fucking sleep with her. Okay, that's how this is supposed to go. Because these people, I mean, people, oh, I have anxiety, I have depression, I have bipolar, I have schizophrenia. People got all these weird, I have learning disabilities. So they have all this shit going on. And then they stupid on top of that. And then you go and have a kid with them, and your kid come out all fucked up, and you be trying to figure out what happened. Sitting up there with your baby in a wheelchair and shit, or in special needs class, got to wear braces on his head and whatnot. I mean, just think about what you're doing, dudes. Think before you go dipping your dick. Ain't no pussy that good. Okay? This is just ridiculous. Oh my God. If you were my son, I'd be kicking your ass from here to Antarctica. All right, let's move on to question number 8. This is a female. She's Caucasian, 42 to 49 age group, from Bradford, England, in the UK. So I have an issue. My daughter brought home a dog after I told her not to. Wait, and it's your house? My 19-year-old daughter brought home a puppy, having been repeatedly told, no, we can't have any more dogs, as she had shown me a picture of a friend's litter and was told no. We have 2 dogs already and 3 other children in the household. She said this was a surprise for my birthday. It isn't my birthday yet, and I don't want a puppy anyway. She works long hours and also has a holiday booked in 2 weeks. She said her man would look after the puppy while she was on holiday. We as a family are also away in a month, and in laws will look after the other 2 dogs. It is not fair to put a puppy on them too. I asked her to return it or rehome it. She refused and has now gone to my parents and is staying there with the puppy. My mom seems to be encouraging the whole situation. I don't want to lose my daughter over this, but it's my home and I have the right to say no more dogs. But they disagree. No, I mean, you're not going to lose your daughter over this. What's wrong with you? Why do you think it's that serious? So the main thing is, if she want to, if she sees this as a hill to die on, bitch, go die. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. One thing, I really don't care what you do, where you go, but you ain't bringing that damn dog up in my house. And that would just be the bottom line. And she, she's trying to manipulate you and use this kind of emotional thing, your mother too. So you need to tell both of them, like, I really don't give a fuck. Y'all sit over there and commiserate and deal with that flea bitten butt if you want to. But that's not dog dead damn. The second you try to bring that dog in here, I'ma sell it or give it away or take it to the woods and lose it or go and drop it off a pier and feed it to Jaws. That's what's gonna happen to that dog. I'm telling you, that's how serious I am. Keep that fucking dog away from my house and you stay over there with it. See, I know I'm probably a terrible person, but one thing I don't do is you're not gonna bully me and you're not gonna try to emotionally manipulate or coerce me into nothing. You don't threaten me and you don't, try to use ultimatums with me either. None of those things work. None of them work. None of them work. They've never worked and they will never work now, especially now I'm older and meaner. They didn't work when I was a kid. So you know they ain't gonna work now. Really don't give a fuck. If I said no, then that's what I mean. No, it's not happening. So yeah, you stop with this. I don't want to lose my daughter. Stop that, because that displays mental weakness, and I don't want to hear that. And make sure you know that you lay down the law and tell both of them the second you try to bring that dog in here, I'm gonna pitch it off a pier, or grind it up in the garbage disposal, or I'm gonna put it in the oven and bake that bitch. You say some crazy shit like that to her, and she'll quickly get rid of that dog. Now people be like, "Oh my God, I'm calling Peter on you." Whatever, what the fuck ever. I'm not saying I would do it. I'm saying that's what she needs to say to her daughter to put the fear of Jesus in her. Because right now the daughter's thinking she's running shit and she's threatening her mother. She's gonna manipulate her into letting her keep the dog with her little games. She's only 19. She ain't running to nobody like me. I would be like, "Oh, is that what we doing?" I like to match energy. Is that what we doing? Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like this role play we about to do right here, girlfriend. You're gonna be sorry that you chose this path of action. And I would just let her do it, and then I would get rid of that damn dog, and she would never know what happened to it. Question number 9. Let's move on. Nobody voted on question number 8. That's okay. You guys are probably too stunned at my meanness about the dog. I don't give a damn about that damn dog. She already got 2 dogs in her house and 3 other kids, plus this just heifer too, plus her husband and her. That's too much going on. Female, 35 to 41. She's from Pensacola, Florida. Summer issue. My ex just sent me a long, heartfelt message, but I'm in a new relationship. How do I approach this? Well, you stupid. Why did you have him blocked? He could have sent you shit if you had done what you're supposed to do. Well, let's see what else you did, stupid. 35 to 41. You too old for this. I just got out of a 10-month relationship several months ago with a 39-year-old guy. Why? Because my ex, for the most part, was absent from the relationship. We only saw each other on Saturdays into Sundays, and Fridays were totally off limits. All he wanted to do was sit on the couch. Overall, his effort was just not there. He also used to practice stonewalling and silent treatment. At one point, he didn't see me for a month because he was sick and didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. This was during the last 2 months of the relationship. Once the weather got nice, he went ghost one weekend. He was extremely mean to me when I tried to reach out. I was always the one reaching out and fixing things. And then he started another round of the silent treatment. I decided this one was going to be the last. I didn't have a breakup talk. I simply made myself single on social media and didn't speak to him again. The situation is a bit tricky because I was introduced to this man by his best friend, whom I work with. I see his best friend every day. Okay, so the ex were introduced by somebody that you work. Okay, I usually wait months, if not years, to date again, but this time I was invited to hang out with someone I used to work with years ago. It was only supposed to be a hangout, but the hangout turned into one of the most wonderful relationships and experiences of my life. There was only a 2 week period between me exiting the last relationship and starting with this new guy. I fell deeply in love with him, and he fell right back. About a month of no contact with my ex, he texted me this half-hearted text message about how he missed me, but that my needs were not being met, and the turbulence of it caused inconsequential quote, and essentially said that the relationship failing was my fault because I wanted too much. I coldly, kindly told him that I have zero interest to rekindle anything with him. Now about a month and a half has passed. Last night at 11, he sent me a super long message, a giant letter, really, where he took accountability and acknowledged all the ways he should have made the relationship better. He proclaimed that he told everyone I'm the love of his life and wanted to marry me and apologized for always shutting down, and that he's always had this sort of social anxiety that makes him do that. I felt bad for him. I knew this moment would come, and it feels very weird working with his best friend. I'm just not sure whether I should respond. I think it would probably be disrespectful to my new relationship. A part of me feels guilty for moving on so quickly. Another part of me says, fuck that guy that made me fall into a deep depression and feel worthless. It doesn't help that my ex used to also work where I work, and everyone now knows that we're broken up and that I'm with someone new and keep telling me how much they like my ex, etc. Okay, well, you stupid. First of all, we done told you, stonewalling is a trick of narcissists where they like you trying to talk about something and they basically shut you down. They shut you down. Well, I don't want to talk about that right now. Or they get up physically and leave. Or they basically just shut you down so that any attempts to communicate with them that you're trying to do are basically, there's a wall up. It's insurmountable. They're too busy. They have to go to work. We'll talk about it later. That kind of stuff. They keep putting you off. That's called stonewalling. That is very common in narcs. So this is question number 9. Anybody got a vote? She's been trying to think it's whether she should respond or not. I'm going to say my vote is that you go into your phone and block him like you should have done months ago. Soon as you broke up, you should have blocked him. There's no way in this world this man should be able to reach out and have a conversation with you. Okay, you didn't handle this right. Yes, it would be disrespectful to your new relationship. That's why you keep trash from the past in the past. You don't let it come sliding its way into your current or your future. You gotta block fools. But too many women don't do it. I don't know what it is what you think is gonna happen. Why you let these idiots that you already over and done with that disrespected you, abused you, cheated on you, lied to you, all kind of horrible stuff. Why do you leave the door open for them to continue to mess around in your life? See, so you writing all the stuff that he's saying and all that stuff. So it's like you left the door open for that shit to happen because you just wanted some shit to talk about. You're trying to paint yourself as a victim. I'm not buying that. You wanted him to write to you, and that's why you didn't block him. You wanted him I anticipated this. Yeah, that's why you didn't block him because you wanted this shit to happen. So you can sit there, oh my God, I think it's going to disrespect my current partner. Oh, these bitches, I swear to God. Anyway, you stick with the part that says, fuck that guy that made me fall into deep depression and feel worse and stop all this other stuff. You just block him and you're not going to respond. Then people at work, when they start talking about how much they like your ex, say, well, I couldn't stand his ass and that's why we broke up. Stop talking to me about him. You want to talk about him to you amongst yourselves, that's fine. I'm not going to have no problem with that. But to me, he's dead. Don't talk to me. Don't mention his name to me ever again. It's disrespecting my new relationship and me. I don't care about your opinions about him. It's irrelevant. You weren't dating him. I was. He's a jerk. So you sort of shut him down like that because he's like be sitting up there like, oh, I can't believe she talked to us like that. Because people just get in there where they think they can just say anything to you. So I like every job I ever with people, they know, don't even try her because she will ream your ass. And they say get started with some bullshit and I'd shut that shit down real quick. It's like, well, why is that your business? When did I ask for your opinion? I start gentle, and then if they persist, then they get the full force. And I just don't really care. People be like, well, that was inappropriate. You didn't really have to talk to them like that. I'm like, well, yeah, but let me tell you what they did. And that was my response after they escalated. So, they escalated, I escalated. I didn't cuss them out or nothing. I didn't touch them. But, you're going to come at me like that. You got to be prepared for what's going to come back. So don't be mouthing off to me. That's one thing you do not do. And so then my bosses be just sitting there looking like this, like looking sad. Like, oh, okay, well, that's all I had to say. And then I would leave. Let's not go there. All right, so that's what we got to say about question. Oh, one person voted. Okay, well, let's move on. Question number 10. This is a young lady in the 22 to 27 age group from Southampton in the UK. Should I trust my gut or am I overthinking this? I met a guy on a dating app. Well, there's your first mistake. He asked for my number early. I said I'd like to talk on the app first, so we did. He was a little too intense for my liking, but we totally vibed. Okay, what does that mean? After thinking about it, I told him I only see us being friends. He was a bit down about it, but agreed to being friends. Today, he asked to meet next week, and I also asked for my number. I was planning on giving it to him, but now I feel like something is off. I feel like I would meet him and he'd try something despite me agreeing to just be friends, which I don't understand why you did that. I have answered him all day today. I haven't answered him rather all day today because I don't know what to do. Do I go with my gut on this or do I just put my weird gut feeling aside and try and see if this friendship would work? And by the way, when I say we vibed, I mean it was really engaging conversation. We had a lot of fun every time. People had fun with Ted dancing. What's his name? Ted Bundy. They had fun with Ted Bundy too. I don't care about having fun. Okay, this is a mistake that you made. And I want you ladies listening to this to pay attention to what I'm about to say here. You as a woman have an innate sense of knowing when some shit is dangerous and fucked up and questionable and sus as hell. Okay. The problem with most women is you feel like if you have a negative feeling about someone, that you're the problem, that there's something wrong with you. You shouldn't think that way. I be mean. I should be nicer. I should give him a chance. All those things you should never do. You never do that. You pay attention to your gut as a woman. That is going to save your life. Because you know what happens to the women who don't pay attention to their gut and go forward and give people a chance to do all that stuff? They find them in shallow graves or they never find them because they did not listen to the warning signs that their body was telling them. You always know that some shit is wrong. You know it, but for some reason, you want to tune it out and ignore it or poo poo it, or you let other people talk you into poo. Well, he seems so nice. You don't tell people that kind of stuff. You shut it down yourself and then you go on with your life. So in this situation, you said you wanted to be friends. Don't ever do that again. If you meet somebody on a dating app and they're there to date, not to be a buddy, they ain't looking for no friend. They're there to date, and you feel something, your spidey senses start tingling, and you decide that you don't want to deal with them like that, then you stick to that, and you say, well, I just don't think, I'm not feeling it right. I'm not feeling it, but it was nice talking to you. I enjoyed our little conversations, and you delete and you block him on the app, on your phone, whatever else way he had to contact you. That's what you were supposed to do. Instead, you sit up here writing me. I mean, I'm glad you did because I wanted to get the chance to explain this to you how this is supposed to go. And a lot of young girls your age, your mothers don't tell you nothing, your daddies don't tell you nothing, so you keep getting yourself in situations. Thankfully, you had enough sense to write me and ask, and so I'm telling you, you do not go nowhere with this man. You're not gonna be his friend. And now you didn't respond to him. You're gonna block him on your phone, and you're gonna go on with your life. That's what you're gonna do. Okay? There's no reason to block him. You already told him you don't want to meet him. It's not gonna happen. That's it. You met him on a fucking app anyway. Ain't nobody. Question number 11. Oh, let me change this. Okay, one person voted. All right, let's move on. Oh, now this one, you type in your response. Here's the code. You just click this and it'll take you right to it if you're on YouTube or Kick. Click that link and it will take you right to the Menti. Or you go menti.com and put that code in, whichever one works for you. So you type in what words come to mind when you think about dating in 2025. I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes. We have a timer. I suppose I could look at my clock. We'll give you 2 minutes. I know you got to think about it for a minute. I'll talk while you do that because so many women, uh, well, shoot, guys too, talk about how horrible it is dating these days and how they just gonna check out. They're not sure they don't even want to date anymore, or how everybody's like crazy. So what comes to mind? You just type it in and keep typing. This is gonna it's gonna change the design. Everybody just type in what it is that's making you well, type that in Bloom. Type that in the Menti. Because anything you type in on the chat stream over here on YouTube, it's not gonna show. Put it over here on the Menti. You need the link again? Just click that. Getting some good stuff here. I'm gonna give you guys time. I'm just gonna sit here and just run my mouth and twirl my chair. Because people type different typing speeds, so I have to give a little extra time for this one. These are some interesting responses. Ah, she put the little emoji in there. That's cute. Keep typing. Everybody put their comments in there. I'm gonna review these after the show. Kiki over there laughing. Oh, let's give you guys another 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds. In case you think of another one. Yeah, Dusty. Mhm. Okay, that's it. The voting is complete. Excellent. Thank you guys. Those were some really interesting ones. We'll be talking about those another time. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 11. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group. She's African American from Washington, D.C. Summary of issue: I made the mistake of sleeping with a guy too soon. I went on a second date with a guy from my gym. We'd seen each other a few times at the gym, but nothing came of it till we matched on a dating app. We got to talking, super respectful, booked dates promptly, asked me out, and followed through. I made the biggest mistake of going back to his place after a few drinks and did the deed a few times. Oh, girl, that must have been good. You didn't stop it once. I would never do this, but I have been celibate for a while. I just wanted to have some nook nook when it was right, and it all just felt right, and I got swept up in the moment. I had a great night, I really did. But I just don't know if now that I've done it, he's lost all respect for me because he brought up the nook nook mid conversation today and said, "Yeah, you want to ride my." Oh, no, he didn't. Again, soon, or words to that effect. So I snapped and said, "If you want to see me and get to know me, that's absolutely fine. And if it happens again, that's fine too. But absolutely no way am I being picked and dropped for Nook Nook. If that's not something that you're interested in, then fair enough. You just got to say the word, and I'll respect that. And then I sign my name." It annoyed me because he was super gentlemanly and booking things and seemed keen to be respectful. But that one comment he made about the Nook Nook and it being a fun night just made me think, oh boy, here we go again. I don't know what to do. I feel so sad and anxious and like I've lost all self respect. It just felt good at the time. I can't help but think if I didn't do it, then maybe he may have been different with me. Help me. I want you to think about this. Okay. He He, he showed you his representative, the kind, respectful, thoughtful, all this kind of stuff. And he's a grown man. So you're a grown woman. So if y'all want to get busy, then you do that. But you don't ever not do it thinking that it's going to make a man respond to you in a certain way. Because a lot of them can play the long game. They'll play that game for months because they know, Steve Harvey was promoting that 90-day waiting period thing. So they'll wait and they'll be looking at just waiting so they can get it and then do this if that's what they want to do. Otherwise, they're going to get it and stay and it'll just be normal. Just be okay with it. You never know which one you're going to get and you never know how a guy is going to respond. I know a couple they went on the first date. I mean, after dinner, they got a hotel room and that was 40 years ago. They still together. Just happy. So, I can't really I mean, you want to err on the side of caution because especially when you consider the diseases and the pregnancy issues and stuff like that. I mean, it's probably not a good idea to do it too soon or with everybody. But if it's a situation, you as a grown woman, you got your birth control under thing, you're going to do everything in a safe way to protect yourself. The guy seems cool, he's down. Y'all have a good time on the mattress. Y'all get up, as long as you don't get up thinking that you got a relationship now. You didn't have one when you lay down, you don't have one when you get up either. If you can keep it straight, then you'd be all right. But I'm just saying, don't beat yourself up thinking that you did something wrong. And if you hadn't done this, then he would be different. He's choosing to act like this. If he were a mature, responsible man, he would be glad somebody wanted to fuck his stupid ass. You see where I'm going with this? He would be thankful. He would be happy. He would be hoping that you came back. And he would be doing everything he could to entice you to do that. Instead, he's acting a fool. So, really, like your response, I don't know. I'm assuming this was by text, but you don't really say. I would have had to call him on that one and say, this is so disappointing. All the time I've seen you in the gym, we had decent conversations. Your initial approach was one of respect and something that somebody could really look up to and admire, thinking that this is, who you are, only to find out that that was just a false front and you just a straight bonehead nigga. That's what you are. And so this is how you come at me. This is how you disrespectfully talk to me. It's so disappointing. I expected more from you. I mean, I did have fun. I was glad we had a good time together and all that. But now you see me in the gym, don't talk to me because you don't know how to control your mouth and you just talking to me all kind of crazy. And I'm not appreciate it. And then I would let that go. But I would have to say that to him. I'd have to say that and let him know, you told your draws over here with that conversation. All he had to do was keep doing what he was doing. He would have had pussy coming out of his ears. And it had a nice little setup because obviously you liked him and he liked you. I mean, you guys evidently had some kind of chemistry, but his words, his behavior, he fucked it all up. And that's what men usually do. They be like, but I'm a nice guy and she didn't pick me. No, it's because y'all just don't know how to control your mouths. You say stupid shit and it turns women off. And then we don't want to be bothered with you. And you want to run around online and post it about, well, I'm a nice guy and women don't like nice guys. But you forget about that stupid shit that you said to her. That really showed that you wasn't quite as nice as you trying to present yourself. Because nice guys don't really talk like that. They speak to women like they could be talking to their sister or auntie or cousin or mama. They don't start saying crazy shit like this. So yeah, he ain't nice. He's trash. I'm glad you found out now though, before you spent more time with him and fell in love or something. See, then he would have started acting foolish. He would have really felt tricked. Thanks for your votes. Let's move on to question number 12. Oh, we got another question. I have a lot of questions today. This might be the last one. I don't remember. No, I think there's one more. So, what is your pet peeve about the opposite sex? Now, keep it PG, please. Let's not go too crazy. I'm gonna give y'all another 2 minutes. What is your pet peeve about the opposite sex? I'm like, I could fill this whole slide up with my pet peeves. I have dozens of them. It's like, and they're all pet peeves. So while y'all think and type, exactly, Mo. I think that is the biggest problem that I've had with males once I got, I'd say about 20 years old. Because, your perspective, 20, 21, when you're a kid, I mean, you don't really have many expectations, but you reach a certain level of maturity and you start looking at people in your relationships, with a different lens. The biggest problem that I've had with men is how disappointing they are. You can't even get mad. It's just you just look at them like, wow, that's the best you can do. That's you really thought that was how you should talk to me. You really thought that was going to get you some play. You really thought that was the way to turn the woman on and make her want to be with you. You really thought that, and you really thought treating her like that was going to work for you. So stuff like that, and you just be looking at them like, what? Yeah, disappointment. Oh, it's a 200 character limit. Huh. Well, that's all right. Just answer. Just put a couple of them. Just think of a couple. Just put some. We got another, I don't know, that's probably was about a minute, right? We got another minute. So yeah, you guys please type in your pet peeve. Type in your pet peeve with the opposite sex in the Menti. I shall put the link in here again for those who may have lost it. The Menti. Mhm. What do you have to say? I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. I wish I could type something. I can't do. Since I set it up, I can't. I can't participate. I suppose I could, but I'd have to log in on a different computer and a different email and all that old stuff. It's like, ugh, that's too much work. Okay, just 5 seconds left. All right, those are our responses. Those pet peeves. Ooh, scary. All right, let's move on. Question number 12 of 20 questions. This female, 28 to 34, she's African American from Colorado. Survey issue: am I overreacting to an innocent question? Hi, Deb. Thanks in advance for taking my question, and I hope you are well. I have moved from one region of the United States to another, from the Gulf Coast to Colorado. People, but mostly men, attempt small talk, which is no problem, except for the question of, do you have family here? I moved here for work. I don't need strangers to know I have no people or backup here. How would you answer this nosy ass question while not being rude so I can have friends? I lie and say my overprotective and overbearing uncle with a criminal record and my male cousin lived the next town over. But something about that question of having no family here never sat right with me. What are your thoughts? Now that you mentioned it, that is an odd question. Do you have family? I mean, I could see them trying to figure out why you moved across the country. So really, if that's what they would say, oh, what was your reason for moving? Is really what they should have been asking you. And because that's really sounds like what they really want to know. But the way they're phrasing it is very intrusive and kind of like, huh? I'm with you. I would be hesitant to, respond all information sharing like with somebody like that. Of course, you could just lie and just say yes and just stop talking. I mean, you know what I mean? Yes. And then say, but I really moved, but my main reason for moving here was for work. So that's what I would say. So then unless they go and say, "Oh, well, who is it?" and like want to extend, like get really nosy, then that probably would suffice. You don't have to tell them who and go into all the details about your uncle and all that kind of stuff like that. You just say yes, but my primary reason for moving here was work. That should be sufficient. And then if they like I said, if they then come back with, well, what's your family say? Look, come on now. I don't know you. I don't feel comfortable with you asking me questions like that. It's really kind of personal. I don't. We're not. We don't know each other to the level where I need to start telling you all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's why I say just say yes with no further. Just like when the word no is a complete sentence, so is the word yes. It was just, do you have family here? Yes, but my primary reason for moving here across the country, whatever way you want to phrase it, is for work. And they'll be like, oh, okay. And then most likely you're going to branch off and start asking you about work and, kind of circumvent that whole family thing. But try that next time and report back. Just send me a note on survivingdating@gmail.com and let me know how that worked for you and what they come back with. Okay. I'm curious. I want to know. Remind me of your letter and then say, let me tell I use what you said and this is what happened. Okay. Because I'm very curious to know how they're going to approach that, what they're going to say. All right. Let's move on to question number 13. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group from Northampton, East Midlands in the UK. Summary of issue. Why do men hit women or vice versa? Yes, I'm talking about physical abuse. The other day, I saw a woman on the street being kicked by her partner. Wow. Probably was her boyfriend, and he snatched her first to find her phone. I know many men admit to being jealous and possessive, but I don't understand the insecurity behind a jealous person's mind. So, what causes this behavior? Besides maybe the fact that they were abused during childhood themselves, what else could it be? What else could it be? It starts with the men's mentality that women are beneath them, that women are there for to serve men, to do men's bidding, to do as men tell them to do what men say to do, the way the men say they should do it, and this kind of thing here, that we shouldn't have our own thoughts or opinions. We should be, looking at them as the king. It comes with that mentality. So if you meet a man like that and he starts talking about, women, anyway, he intimates that women have some kind of social standing that's below that of men. Watch out, because that's the kind of guy that is going to be, tend to be disrespectful and controlling in that way. So some of them just have, not, and I mean just like dismissive. They have anger management issues. They don't want to just fight women. They want to fight fight everybody. They break windows. They kick cats and dogs. I mean, they're violent towards everybody, everything, any living thing, and even inanimate objects. They throw in shit, punching holes in walls, all that kind of stuff. That falls under the anger management category. But in general, it's about control, domination, and the belief that she's out of control. I can't control her. She's not listening to me. She's not doing what I told her to do. I'm going to beat her ass and just basically beat you into submission. That's what that's about. Now, there are some women who kick men's asses too. I've never talked to one, I've never met one, but I've seen stuff on social media where people recorded it, women kicking men's asses. I know one time I beat up my boyfriend, but I beat his ass for a good reason. He was disrespecting me. We broke up after this, so he was at my house. And he'd been working with this woman, like an older white lady who, when I met her at a party from his job, I immediately could sense, her interest in him, right? But I mean, I was like 19, 20 years. I mean, what am I gonna do? And so, but I knew what was happening. I wasn't that stupid. So I told him later, I'm like, she seems to like you. And he's like, oh no, so he tried to downplay it. I'm like, like I said, I've always been astute. He just even when I was young. So I was like, okay. So then, we didn't live together. We lived separately. So he was at my house and he wanted to use my phone. I think. Wait, how did that go? No, 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 no. I said I'm gonna go. He was watching TV. I said, okay, I'm gonna run to the store because I wanted to make root beer float. So I went to go get some root beer and some ice cream. So I come back. That's what happened. And he was on my phone. That's what happened. And so I'm like, I'm pitching around the kitchen, getting everything ready. And then I could sense that he was talking to some woman. So then I said, "Who are you talking to?" Oh, I think what was her name? Janie, Jenny, something, something with a J, some kind of J name. And I said, "Hang up my phone," because, like I said, I could already sense that she, had an interest in him. And he's like, "I'll be done in a minute." Oh, what you was taking? What? On my house, on my phone where I paid the bill, and he was trying to like shush me and fan me away and stuff. I went over to the wall where the phone, because this is an old landline phone, and I unplugged the phone from the wall. He didn't know I had done that, so he's up there, hello, hello, click, 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 hello, and then I stood there, wait, twirling the cord around and said, I said, get off the fuck off my phone. And that's what I meant. Oh, he jumped up like he was going to hit me. That's when I was working out at Goals and I had pictures of myself. I had was ripped. I stepped back because my brothers taught me how to box. Ah, boop, 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 right quick. And he was doing all this right here. And then I kicked him. I opened up the door and I kicked him in his back as he flew out I mean, it happened so fast. Even I didn't know that I had reflexes that fast. I broke his glasses. I ripped his shirt. I bruised the fuck out of his face. His lip was busted. I was so angry. You get angry, you get that superhuman strength. And it's like, how dare you disrespect me in my own house like that about some white chick? You have lost your goddamn mind. I beat his ass. And so then he was like, I'm gonna call the police. Now keep in mind this boy is 6'3" and I'm like 5'5". And I said, go right ahead. And when you get the police come, I'm gonna tell them that you attacked me and I was defending myself. And who you think they're gonna believe? Because like I said, he's 6'3", and here I am, my little self. And he was scared because he thought about the Houston cops. They wasn't gonna listen to shit he had to say. They was gonna commit the baton to him. So he left. He just left. You're crazy. You're crazy. And so he called his mother and he told his mother what I did. And she come calling me. I said, you know what? Your son is a disrespectful little fucker. And if he came around me doing some shit like that again, I would beat his ass again. And if you come in my face talking crazy to me, I'll beat yours too. Keep in mind, I was 19, 20 years old. I'm telling you, I was crazy in that age, that era. I've toned down so much, but I was just like crazy. When I would get angry, I would lose it. And I just was cussing people. So anyway, that was the end of that. He left me alone after that. He's like, I can't mess with you. You crazy. You have me in jail. I'm thinking, you right. That's exactly where I want your ass because you must have forgot. I'm from California. I'm not one of these Texas, Houston girls who's going to take that shit from you. Unless you grew up with three brothers, I know how to fight. And one thing I'm not going to do is sit here and let you, steamroll me. We're not doing that. So, yeah, that's that. This is a true story. Kind of embarrassing because, and people say, well, you were jealous. It wasn't that I was jealous, it wasn't jealousy. It was the fact that he thought he could disrespect me like that in my house with my phone. Nah, we don't do that. All right. So that was question number 13. So I guess we don't have any votes on that. Let's move on. Question number 14. This is a female in the 20 to 34 age group, no location provided. Males also 20 to 34. Summary of issue. My boyfriend doesn't want me to go to a bachelorette trip to Wisconsin. So my friend who was getting married in August invited me to go to a bachelorette trip with her and 16 other girls to a lake house. She invited us back in November of last year, so I got excited and booking the flights and told him after I booked it. Well, this turned into a fight. He's saying that he doesn't trust the other girls and he's worried about my safety and he knows what happens on bachelorette trips. We actually broke up over it, but got back together the next day and I told him I would look into changing it. What you do that for? Well, there's no way to change it because it's on an airline that only goes to like 12 cities, and I don't want a credit that will go to waste. Well, basically, I just never brought it up again because honestly, I wasn't sure we'd still be together by the time it came around. Well, we are, and it's next week, and I'm absolutely terrified to bring it up to him. I just need some advice on how to bring it up and what I should do. I have a feeling he's going to get pissed and tell me how horrible of a person I am for lying to him and break up with me. He'll try to make me feel like absolute shit and try to ruin my trip. He's the kind of person that would just break up with me when he gets worked up over something I did, end quote, and then come back a few hours later and be fine after scolding me. We've been together for over 2 years, and this is my first girls trip since we've been together. I'd also like to add, he just brought up that he's thinking about going on a guy's golfing trip somewhere. Okay, girl, the mistake you made was telling him about a girl's trip. Why do you need to tell, hey, Yasmin, tell your mere boyfriend about anything about some other women and what you're going to be doing with them? See, is it me? I used to never tell my boyfriends anything about what I'm doing with my girlfriend. It's not their business. I likewise didn't want to know what they was doing with their dudes. I didn't care what you was doing, where you was going, when you was going. I don't care. I just have never been a micromanager of my relationships or my partner's time. I don't care. As long as you show up when you're supposed to show up, when we agreed to meet or what, see each other, whatever. Other than that, you do what you want to do because I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. And I said, well, I don't feel like it would be fair for me to try to keep dibs on you when I don't want you keeping them on me. That's how I've always operated. So in this situation, see, you had a big mouth and you went and told him. You shouldn't have never told him. This is for the future. Shut up. Stop telling me and all your business. He don't need to know. He's not your husband. You don't have no kids that you got to arrange babysitters for and stuff like that. There's no reason for him to even know this until you was like, oh, I'm going on this girls trip. I'll check you out when I get back. The 10 minutes before you leave, that's when you tell him. Okay, if you tell him at all, I can call his ass from when I'm already there. Say, oh yeah, he could be calling. Oh hey babe, I was thinking about coming over. No, I'm in Wisconsin. You can't come over. Wisconsin, what are you doing? And it would be like that. So he's gonna get pissed. My suggestion is like, what do you want to do now? You're gonna just stay quiet about it. You don't say if you guys live together. I'm assuming that you don't. And so you just pack your stuff, put it in your car, in the trunk of your car or something. And then when it's time for you to go to the airport, you go. You park your car, you go to the airport, you get on the plane. You don't tell him shit. He can find out once and turn your phone off so he can't be calling you. And then when you get to Wisconsin, you can turn your phone back on if you want to. Personally, I would leave mine off till I came back. But I'm the kind of person I leave my phone in people's cars. If you had not had my phone for 4 or 5 days and just don't even care. I don't really use my phone that much. All right. Okay, so no votes there. Nobody had a thought about how she should handle this. Question number 14. No votes on the mentee. All right, that's fine. Let's move on to question number 15. This is a young lady in the 28 to 34 age group from Seattle, Washington. Sorry, an issue. I'm feeling sad about my friends' weddings. For context, I'm female and I'm 33 and I have a successful career. I own a home, I have a good family, nice friends, but have genuinely been struggling finding love. I'm good looking, curvy, but pretty, intelligent, quirky, cute. I've been fighting off depression, trying to stop eating my emotions and trying to be my best self by going to the gym, going out with friends, eating well, taking care of my skin, hair, nails, and overall look. So I feel good and look good. I think I have a good style. Now to the problem issue. Oh my God, it took you long enough. I've attended and been a bridesmaid in tons of weddings over the years. I was elated to be a part of the process. However, this year I've been thrown into a depression from them. I just attended a friend's wedding. I picked a cute dress, spent hours on my look, and was so happy to attend for a longtime family friend. I also chose not to drink as I'm trying to live a healthier lifestyle. As I was there, I became more and more sullen. I thought maybe it was because I wasn't drinking. And part of it might have just been the wedding wasn't that fun. I'm a good dancer and I threw out some cute salsa moves when this occasional good song came on, but I wasn't happy. I felt depressed, not jealous, not admiring, generally hurt from my own heart as I felt fat, ugly, and unlovable. Oh my God. Being at this wedding made me go back and think of all my failed attempts at love and marriage. Then I see on social media a man I truly cared for many years ago, and today was his wedding day. Pictures of him and his new bride. He looks attractive, happy, and in love. It spiraled me down so far. I'm so sad, Deb. I really cared about this guy. He let me go. But you said many years ago. What are you doing? I saw the social media posts of his wedding, beautiful moments, them dancing, laughing, and having fun. It made me so sad that I'm not living that life with him or at all with anyone, that I may actually never get married at all. That's why I wasn't good enough for someone when all I've strived for is success, love, stability, and a good life. Why wasn't I good enough for someone to fight for me? Okay, then she gives a backstory about how she met the guy. She said, I've dated, so that was 5 years ago. Okay, she said a few years, 5 years ago. So I don't know why seeing his wedding broke my heart. I've dated others since him. I don't even think about him. It's not like I'm waiting around for him. So why do I feel so depressed? Blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of being alone. I see my dream relationship starting like the one did with that guy. I need advice, support, some insight on how to fix myself and get the dream relationship that I want. Well, you ain't gonna get all that shit here. Well, I'm not gonna be holding your hand while you bullshit and fuck around, feeling sorry for yourself because you looking at some pictures of some man that you broke up with 5 years ago. Are you kidding me right now? You really think that I have time to be holding your hand and giving you some tips and trying to put some band-aids on your feelings? No, I don't do that. What I do is a reality check. So I'm going to tell you this. Stop fucking acting stupid. You sitting up there feeling all sad and sorry for yourself. Don't you think you might have been, some guy might have been at the wedding checking you out, but your ass was sitting up there looking all sad and depressed and shit, all like Eeyore. So the guy got turned off and walked away. So you didn't get any attention because you don't know how to goddamn act. Weddings are prime places to meet other single people. But nope, that's not what you did. The grooms always have single friends, and they're always there. And you want to play this pity party game and talking about some dude that you broke up with 5 years ago and looking at his pictures and crying about him 5 years later. I just cannot with you. I just cannot. I don't even know what to do. I can't even begin to understand what's going on with you. It's just, maybe you should see a shrink or something because you just spiraling down and it's like your own doing. You notice none of this stuff is actually happening to you. Nobody's doing anything to you. You're having the same problem as every other single person trying to find your right match. Big whoop de doo. If the shit happens and then suddenly you find somebody and then you're cool. Cool. That's how it happens. Suddenly, when you're not looking sometimes. Sometimes you have to be looking. You never know. But you never know what's gonna happen. But because it hasn't happened on the time frame that you wanted, you want to go through all these drama fits and stuff. This is a turn off to any man. Stop it. Get yourself into a shrink's office. Let's move on. Question number 16. This is a female at 28 to 34 from, this word. Somebody told me how to pronounce this. Mississauga, Canada. Summary of issue. Is being called mysterious or intriguing a good thing or not? A couple of men have mentioned this to me. I am a heterosexual female, 29. One guy, when we first started dating, said, thinking about this mysterious woman that I just can't figure out. A couple of others referred to me as intriguing or mysterious after getting to know me a bit more, saying that I had this air of mystery about me. I'm not sure if that's a compliment, an insult, or a flattering term used to make me feel like I'm a special snowflake. Sure, I could take it as a compliment that I have a certain depth and complexity that is intriguing to others. It may also imply that I have an air of mystery, which can be alluring and attractive to some. On the other hand, being called mysterious may also suggest that someone is hard to read or understand, which could be seen as a negative trait in a relationship. It may also hint at a lack of openness or transparency, which can be concerning for some people. I don't behave in a way that is intentionally mysterious or enigmatic. I like to sense my surroundings, observe people, and before speaking, pay attention to the context. So maybe I come across as being more mysterious than I actually am. What are your thoughts? I think you need a second job or some shit. Oh, I did, Ash. Thank you. I was trying to remember because I know. Was that you? I had a tutoring on how to pronounce it. Something this was really she maybe last year, but I had vowed that I was going to remember it because I was just botching that word so hard. But thank you. I did do it right. Um, I'm gonna say this. Usually when dudes say that, it's just game. Because what they're trying to do, see, there's two kinds of women in this world. There's a kind like me that's going to sit there and study you and have your ass under the microscope. And while I'm doing that, of course, you're not going to be able to read me because I got my poker face on. I don't want you to be able to read me. I'm trying to read you. I want to know what you up to. What's really going on with you. So, it's a different thing. Okay, so then the other question is, the other reason it could be is that um, he is used to women that come with their heart on a string, what they call a heart on a sleeve. and just spill their guts and tell everything and overshare and all this kind of stuff. So the guys never have to put any effort into trying to understand the woman because she is telling them everything. She's telling them everything. So it could be, that he's comparing you to those kind of women. You're not, as forthcoming as them, and so they hit you with that mysterious shit. And like I said, but most of the time though, it's just game. They just want you to feel like you said, a special snowflake, like you so different and you so intriguing, you so special and wonderful, and got his nose open while he's trying to figure you out and all this old shit here. Whatever. Whatever. Those are my thoughts anyway, since you asked. All right, so nobody voted on that one either. Let's move on to number 17. This is a young man in the 22 to 27 age group. He's Caucasian from Arlington, Virginia. Sorry of issue. Remember, we're voting in the mentees and you sharing your thoughts on these relationships. That's why these are up here. You guys supposed to be voting. That's the link for you to cast your vote on one of those little faces. He said, "Some issue. My father-in-law threatened me after we told him about our marriage. What should I do? Hey, ladies of the squad, I'm emotionally drained and need help processing a situation that's been haunting me for weeks. I'm 27 and married to a woman who's 30. We've been together for about a year and recently got married in private. We didn't tell her family right away, not because we were hiding it, because we expected an intense reaction from her father, who's almost 70. He has a long history of emotionally manipulative and aggressive behavior. When we did finally tell them, her dad exploded. He shouted at us, insulted us, and acted in a threatening way. The very next day, he called like nothing happened and invited us over. We went, helped him all day out of respect, and later told him that we'd be going back to our place to sleep. That's when everything spiraled again. He completely lost it. He screamed at us on the street late at night, threatened me with a sharp object, and at one point grabbed his daughter and said something that shook me deeply, asking if I would protect her if someone ever tried to hurt her. Wow. It felt like a disturbing test or maybe a warning. Then he made another awful, inappropriate comment involving my mother, clearly just trying to provoke me. I didn't fight back. I ran, literally ran to de escalate the situation and protect my wife from further harm. We left and haven't seen him since. A few days later, he sent me a long message full of emotional manipulation and gaslighting. He flipped the story around and framed himself as a victim, claiming I disrespected him, that I, quote, took something from him. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all where my mind is going with this is not good. And demand I apologize so he can, quote, begin to heal. He painted himself as a traditional man with values I couldn't possibly understand, blaming my upbringing for the conflict. My wife is taking some space for him. She's emotionally intelligent, incredibly strong, but she spent her whole life managing this kind of behavior. He used physical punishment on her as a teen and now uses guilt, shame, and emotional threats to pull her back into the cycle. She's conflicted, and I understand why, but I also know we can't let this continue unchecked. I feel like I stepped into a long history of trauma I didn't create. I want to protect my relationship, but I also need boundaries. I won't offer an apology to someone who tried to intimidate and humiliate me and who still hasn't acknowledged the pain he's caused. Has anyone else ever written to you about something like this? No, not that I recall anyway. How do you suggest someone support their partner while protecting your own emotional safety? Is it possible to repair something like this, or is cutting ties the only way forward? I'm not looking to start any drama. I just want some peace. Let me explain to you, you know, my first major before I switched to communications was psychology, but I decided not to pursue it because I would be limited by a license. So the stuff that I get to say now, I wouldn't get to say because my license, I'd be up for review and snatching that sucker real quick because they didn't like how I approached my clients. So I said, hmm. So I went into mass communications instead, and that's done me well. So I still, use those skills and that knowledge. They don't go anywhere. So in a situation like this, normally when you have fathers that act like this towards their daughters, it's because they see them as property. They've been sexually abusing those girls. And you say he's at did you she took he you took something from him and how he possessive he is over her, how angry he got that she, is married to somebody else and now she's the property of another man, how he, is gonna grab her and threaten you with her like that. Textbook. So I think, you only been dating a woman for a year and you already married her. At some point you're gonna have to ask her about this because I'm pretty sure, like I'm 99% sure that's what's behind this, behind his behavior and why he's so angry. He sees you as the enemy. Now, he's 70 years old, damn near. Okay. So just like I said the other day, when you got some old folks like that, you don't worry about, you just say, I just want you to think about the fact that you're 70 years old. At some point, your ass is gonna be in diapers, and you're gonna need somebody to change you, and you're gonna need somebody to come and take care of you because you won't be able to do it by yourself. And guess what? We ain't coming. Or if we do, we're gonna leave you sitting in pissy diapers, just like I said the other day. You start threatening, we're gonna put you in a home and ain't nobody gonna come see you. You're gonna be there all by yourself, getting abused, left over there, not fed, no medication. That's what we're gonna do. Because see, you think you running stuff. You think you're gonna tell somebody what to do and you're gonna threaten somebody. Oh no, I got something for your ass. You just wait a few years. I'm gonna get you back. And you're gonna be sad that you talk to me like this. And then you need to strap up because he's sounding like he's not wrapped too tight. Might have to end up dropping that fool. Protect your wife from him and to protect yourself from him as well. So my suggestion is, after you have that conversation with him, you do that by phone, then you block him and you don't go to his house ever again because you might not get out alive. He sounds like he's not wrapped too tight. A lot of them old men had syphilis from being in the war and stuff, and it affects their brain. They never got it treated, so they all fucked up mentally. So you be careful with this man. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would start worrying him. You're not gonna threaten him with violence. You're gonna threaten him with, we're not gonna do nothing for you. We're not gonna hurt you, but we're not gonna help you either. And let's see how you do. That's what I would do. He's a jerk. So okay, we had a couple of votes here on question 17. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on. Oh, we got another poll. Now this is definitely the last one. Okay, rate your overall satisfaction with the dating experiences that you've had over the last, say, 12 to 18 months, last year and a half. And these are your options. You get to pick everything you ever dreamed of, living a freaking nightmare. I hate it so much I bowed out of dating. And you're going to rate them between strongly agree, disagree, or somewhere in the middle for each statement. Okay, so you get one, two, three, four choices, four things to vote on. And you pick always strongly agree, strongly disagree, or kind of agree, or maybe sometimes, whatever. You pick one for each of those four options. And I'll just wait here. I'm just waiting. Please pick one. Okay, we'll give it another 30 seconds for the people who had to give it some thought, like, which one did I? What is my response? 8 seconds. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, everyone, for your votes, for your participation. Let's move on. Question number 18. We got three more to go. This is a young lady in the 20 to 34 age group. She's of mixed racial heritage from London, England. Summary of issue. My parents keep asking me when I'm going to give them grandkids, and it's making me pissed. I'm 28 and single, and my parents, Korean mom and English dad, have started making, quote, jokes about wanting grandchildren at every family gathering. Last weekend, my mom literally asked if I wanted her to set me up with her friend's son because time is ticking, end quote. Like, mom, I can barely afford my own rent right now, let alone think about supporting a whole other human. Every family dinner turns into an interrogation about my dating life and when I'm going to settle down. It's making me not want to visit as much, which sucks because I actually enjoy spending time with them when they're not pressuring me about my life choices. How do you suggest I get my parents to back off without being rude about it? What you're gonna do is you're gonna do a little research project. So as soon as I heard this, I'm like, the plan was formulating in my mind. This is what you're gonna do. Okay, first of all, depending on where you live, where'd you say you were? Shit, I forgot that quick. Oh, you're in London. Okay. So somewhere between your job that you currently have and your house where you currently live, there has to be some daycare centers. You're going to get pricing for an infant and then for a preschooler. So you go two prices, okay? You're gonna price Pampers, you're gonna price formulas, you're gonna price health insurance, which I don't know what they have in. Do they have universal health insurance in UK? I don't know. Well, whatever they have, whatever you might have to pay for, you put that in there too. You put in the larger size home because the kids gonna need their own room. So you're gonna have, if you don't already have one, you're gonna need to get at least 2 bedroom, right? And then you need some way to, you're gonna get baby shit, strollers, cribs, all the stuff, the clothes from them, they grow like crazy. So you gotta keep buying stuff. Even if it's secondhand, you still gotta, still money. And so you're gonna get all those costs and ask your friends that like babysitter, for you to go do whatever you might need to do. But so ask friends that you know that might have some kids what their costs are. Okay. And you're gonna put all of that in a spreadsheet. And then next time you go to your parents' house, you're gonna show your money that you make and where your expenses go. And then you're gonna say, these are the costs that you are asking me to add to my budget when I only have this much money after I pay my bills. I only have this much. Where is this supposed to come from? Why do you keep asking me about this? I can't afford a child. I can't afford one. And then you flip that into and you let them be like, oh, at that. That ought to help. Now, the only problem is that they might come back and say, oh, we'll help you. You can move in with us and you won't have to pay rent and we'll help with the babysitting and us. So be prepared. You better have an answer because that might be. Or you could say, it's too far from my job. That's not going to work. That's will increase my commute costs. Make sure you put that in there too. Your commute costs, your train pass, whatever it is, everything that you pay, you put in your budget, and then you put all the prices and stuff that you'll be adding to add a baby into that mix. Because just because you had a baby by somebody that do that, don't mean he's gonna be paying any kind of significant amount of child support. They definitely gonna pay half the cost. They don't do half unless they like Puffy or somebody. Then they do, but yeah, when they pay a couple $100, and that's like a drop in the bucket for what the actual costs are. And then when the kid get older, then they need tutors and lessons and braces. You got to take them to the dentist, and then they got lesson fees and club fees and field trip fees, and it's just endless. The amount of money you spend is just it's like a fucking like river siphoning all the money out of your life. Your money. I had so much more money after my time. Oh my God, I don't even know how I did it. I just had no money. But that's what you need to do for them because they need a reality check. They're just looking at, oh, we're gonna be holding, this little bundle of joy. They're not looking at what's gonna be, and how you would be out of work, who's supposed to pay your bills while you're recovering from all of those things are the realities that you'll be dealing with. All of that needs to be put in this report of that cost in that spreadsheet. You do that and see what they say. Yeah. I bet you they'll be talking about that for months. Let's move on to question number 19. This is a young man in the 22 to 27 age group. He's African American from Santa Ana, California. Summary issue: a criminal record from 7 years ago still hangs over me. I have a criminal record from when I was 18, one of the not very good ones. I don't even know. My imagination went wild. And despite it being 7 years since then, it still weighs very much on me, especially when I think about trying to start a relationship. I'm not comfortable dating someone without telling them, as that seems unfair and deceptive. So, in my mind, I have two options. Number one, make it known right away. However, if I do this, I'm not really giving the person a chance to get to even know me. And with my past being their first introduction, I assume many people would immediately leave. Or number two, get to know each other, and then when things get around to being more serious, then tell her. However, This feels kind of scummy, like leading them on only to reveal this huge thing that would could ever change their feelings. I'm not really sure what to do. And because of this, I'm not comfortable approaching women with the intent to date. The best solution would be meeting someone as a coworker or friend and eventually developing feelings, at which point I could tell them about my past. But I don't have many friends. I'm trying to find new hobbies to fix that though. Anyway, thoughts of advice would be appreciated. Thanks in advance, especially if you manage to read that short story I just wrote. Well, I'm going to say this. Since you're in California, I wish you had said what it- what the not very good ones is, because you didn't say. Since you're in California, there's companies like law firms and stuff that they work with people to expunge your records completely, to seal them if you were like a minor or, like, 17, 18. I mean, I don't know which you probably have to be an expunged because technically that's an adult. They can reduce charges. Like, say you were arrested and it was a felony charge, they can reduce it on paper to like a misdemeanor. So, it lessens the effect. Like if, it doesn't go away, but on paper it's reduced to something, that's more tolerable for people. But it may cost you some money. I'm not really sure what the process is, but what I would do if I were you, I would look into that. Just do a search for, how to expunge my criminal record in California or something. Search Google and a bunch of stuff should pop up. And you should be able to find something that's in your area that way and follow that path because, a mistake made at 18 should not follow you through your entire life. That's why they have these kinds of programs, to give people a second chance. And you did one dumb thing when you was young and stupid. That it gives you an opportunity to fix it and get your life back together. Once that happens, and I think it's 7 years, it might be 10. I mean, I don't really remember, but check with somebody who does that, and they'll tell you all the issues and what you need to do, the paperwork you need to file. And once that happens, though, it's like it never happened. So it's expunged, it's completely gone. It's like you were never arrested. You don't have to talk about it. Anybody does a background check, it's not going to show up. Anybody who wants to do like a background check for like employment, it's not going to show up. So you have to look into doing that. Then your worries about telling people about how when you was young and dumb, you did something dumb will go away. And I think will have more confidence in yourself and you can move forward in your life and be greater later. But right now, this is hanging over your head like a noose, and it's limiting you because you're just terrified that somebody's gonna find out you did some dumb shit. What we have to do is focus on that and make sure we don't do any more dumb shit, okay? But follow you. If you was in any other state, I wouldn't be able to help you. But since you're in California, I know that we have these programs here. You just have to find one, and then go talk to the people about what happened. Show them your case records or whatever, and ask them what options are available to you to get that off your record. Okay? You haven't done anything since. You have no intention of doing anything since. You want a chance at a decent life, so they'll help you. Okay? They'll help you. For a little thing. All right, let's move on. This is our last question of the day. We will be back here on Sunday, though, with our final column of the week. Question number 20 for today. If you would like to vote in the Menti, there's instructions on how to access it up there on the screen. Question number 2. Oh, you know what? I also want to say if you want to submit a letter, there's instructions right there scrolling across the screen. If you want to submit a letter for consideration to be this um, in this column, that's how you do it. You go to debsterism.com/get-advice. There's a form that you complete. You just fill that out and press submit, and then it will go live. Okay. I mean, it'll go live. It'll go into our inbox, and then Candace will take a look at it. And it'll make it into the column eventually. Most letters do, but sometimes we just be so backlogged. All right, so here we go with the final question of today. Get ready to vote. This is a female in the 35 to 41 age group. She's Asian from Santa Barbara, California. The male in question is 35 to 41 as well, and he is Caucasian. Third issue, my boyfriend has an expensive hobby, so we have to live very frugally, and it's starting to bother me, and I'm not sure what to do. We have to. Okay. My boyfriend is 41, I'm 39, and we have been together for about a year. He's a caring and considerate partner. However, he lives very frugally to be able to afford his expensive hobby. He loves to sail between the cost of financing his boat, which he purchased before we met, fuel costs, insurance, marina fees, maintenance, etc. I would estimate that it creates around 3,000 a month or so in expenses. This comes out of his disposable income, so it's not like he's asking me to pay for any of it, but it's not an interest I share. I don't like being on boats. I think sailing really gives him a lot of peace and a sense of pride. We mostly split expenses, and I don't live a particularly expensive lifestyle. I don't have a huge desire to visit fancy restaurants, and I'm happy taking a weekend road trip instead of some big international trip. So for a while, it didn't bother me that he spent so much on his hobby. He is also very conscientious about saving, so he saves a large portion of his income as well, and I support him wanting to build his savings. However, we don't currently live together, partly because of how frugally he chooses to live in order to be able to afford his hobby. He has a tiny condo, no car, although I have a car. He eats very simply. If we were to move in together, we'd need to move into a smaller apartment than I prefer. It's expensive here, I know, or move somewhere else, and he'd need to save less. If it were up to me, we'd spend more on activities, splurge from time to time, and get a decent sized apartment. However, he's not really on board with these expenses except on holidays like a birthday, etc. We still go out to do stuff, but obviously he prefers inexpensive slash free local events, which I also enjoy, but it would be nice to do other stuff too. If I want to go to a joint pricey concert or to the theater or do a spa day or whatever, I'll usually end up doing that stuff with friends. He's someone who is willing to compromise on things, but I don't even know what to ask him for. Sell his boat? He had it before we even met. Stop saving? That sounds like I'm asking him to be irresponsible. I could offer to pay for more stuff, but I think that would create a very bad relationship imbalance, especially when he makes more than I do. Honestly, I'm not sure what to do. I feel like a jerk asking him to give up his hobby, or like I was being immature, telling him to not worry so much about saving money. Or should I dump him? He's honestly a great guy. At the same time, it seems silly that our lives are so limited when both of us have okay income. Deb, I'm really not sure what to do here. Or maybe I should just be happy he's a good guy. What would you do? I would dump his ass. Let me tell you why. I would dump him because everything that you say that he's doing, oh, he lives frugally. He spends $3,000 a month on his expensive hobby. He loves to sail. He's it comes out of his disposable income. He saves his money. We split expenses. Okay, what is this man doing for you in this relationship? What are you getting out of this? What are you getting out of this? Okay, because I'm not understanding why you're there. You don't sail with him. So what is it that you're doing with him then? I mean, you say he's a good guy, so you're just hanging on to him because he's, on paper a good guy. He's a good guy for someone else. He's not a good guy for you because he's not meeting your needs. You have to ratchet down your lifestyle to match his because he wants to be a cheap Pete. You have to live that cheap Pete lifestyle too, or you have to do everything with your friends that you might want to do with your partner, like have a spa weekend, mud baths, all that stuff. Is I hear it's romantic. I'm not about that life, but people seem to enjoy doing these couples massages and couple mud baths and all sorts of stuff here. But and he eats simply. That probably means he's malnourished. And you talk about moving in together and all this other stuff. You're not gonna move in with this man. You're gonna dump this man. And it's not because there's really anything wrong with him per se. The problem is he's not offering you the relationship that you want. He can't offer it to you because he's focused on his own thing. Every single thing that you mentioned in this letter is about what he's doing for himself. He ain't doing shit for you. Even when you go out, you have to pay half. You may as well just go out with your girlfriends then. The only thing you get from him is some dick. That's it. And you giving up all this stuff for that? You tripping. Okay. 41, you should know better. Wait, no, he's 39. He's 41, you're 39. Okay, whatever. You on the downstroke to 40. You ought to know better than this. Okay, I'm just surprised that I have to even go through this exercise with you. You're sacrificing. This is not a compromise or a negotiation. You are sacrificing the things that you want, the things that make you happy in a relationship, because he wants to be on his boat, spending $3,000 a month to save money in his bank account. And so he's saving all his money because he's making you pay half. So essentially, even when you go out, he's only paying for himself and you're paying for yourself. So, like I said, what are you getting out of this? You need to be realistic. I know he ain't buying you no flowers and stuff like that because that would be like a waste of his. He would be considered that a waste of his money. Yeah. Usually they name them sailboats, name women's names too, like Abigail and Helena and these little things like that. Helen of Troy and all this other shit. They name their boats girl names, and then he be on the boat, grinning and go flying around on the water with his sailboat. He be on that bitch by himself. I'll be like, look, I'm out. I can't deal with you. 'Cause Deb don't do water either. And I tell people today, like, why? It was so much fun. I remind them, say, the last time my ancestors was on some boats, it didn't really go too well for us. And they just look at you stunned, right? Because I just be fucking around, just making jokes. But they be like, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. And taking it all seriously is too funny. But I mean, it's kind of true. But yeah, I don't do water. Don't do it. Have no interest in it. I'm not going to be trying to do it. They looking at it, don't want to touch it, nothing. You know, if it's not the tub, like bathtub, not no. I need to get able to get out. I don't want no things swimming by me, grabbing onto me, stinging me, biting me, nibbling on me, trying to snack on me. I'm not about that life. No, thank you. No oceans, no suspect lakes with, Loch Ness monsters and stuff in them. People that threw crocodiles and boa constrictors in the water and all this sort of stuff. I'm not, no, not doing it. Not doing it. So anyway, that is our show for today. Appreciate everybody coming in. We did 2 shows this week. I actually showed up. I'm proud of myself. I pat myself on the back. But I'll be back here on Sunday, for our regular show. These were just 2 extra shows. We'll be here on Sunday, and I hope that you guys can join me. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscription button and the instant notification bell and join the fun. We'll be here again, like I said, Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's 7 if you're on the East Coast. All right. See y'all then.